Okay, Watchman of Ephraim or Rick here concerning what just went down and what is going on in Syria. Hopefully, this video won't be that long. Okay, so if I can pull up, here's a map, by the way, of Syria, and it's divided up. As I've gone through before, those few who watch this small channel. And if you notice my title, the United States, which eyewitnesses Ephraim, the latter-day promise to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, to Joseph, that his two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, would be a great nation and a multitude of nations in the latter days. And this Damascus Oracle, or in other words, the Great Tribulation, or Jacob's trouble, is about to go down. And what I mean by that is there's probably a few years to go here. Let me just go to a very important, probably I consider the most important scripture in the Bible concerning understanding, well, the Bible. You want to establish patterns. That's the Hebraic way. So what I believe is about to go down, this is a setup, by the way, what's going on in Syria for the destruction of the USA and Damascus. The Damascus Oracle, the Great Tribulation, or Jacob's trouble. Ecclesiastes 1:9 through 11. That which has been is what will be. That which is done is what will be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. So what's about to go down in the near future happened before. This time it's going to be on a worldwide or grand worldwide scale. Notice what Solomon says in verse 10. Is there anything of which it may be said, see, this is new? Notice, it has already been done or been in ancient times before us. So what's about to go down in the near future already happened in the past. You always have like a small forerunner and then an end time fulfillment. Notice verse 11. There is no remembrance of former things, and you can see this by our leaders. We don't even know who we are. And try to witness this to your friends. Of course, everything can be considered speculation, and what I'm going to present to you now could change in the near future. Nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to... Let me just back up. There is no remembrance of former things. Take that and, lay that up in your minds, in your hearts. Nor will there be any remembrance of things that are to come by those who will come after. In other words, Solomon is saying basically what Karl Marx said, that history repeats itself. And we tend to forget what happened in the past. So try to, if this is, and I believe it's true, why is the United States in Syria in these latter days? At a time when it's reached great wickedness, lawlessness, murder, bloodshed after bloodshed, alcohol, drug dependence, homosexuality, the law of the land. Well, and all this gender, transgender stuff. We don't even know who we are anymore. Reprobate minds. And we find ourselves in the Middle East again. Because that's where we originally came from. Anyways, I have a lot of, let me just X out on that. Let me go back to, again, I just threw this up. So here's Syria, and in the yellow, this is where the Kurds basically are, and these are U.S. Basically, this is the east of the Euphrates River. This is where the U.S. has its influence. We have about 1,000 troops in this part, and down here in green here, this little print, if you can see, 200 U.S. soldiers and 200 rebels. We have a base right here on the border, and we have bases in eastern Syria. Okay, so if you remember, I said Iran and Russia are in the red. They were backing up this Bashar Assad, this Assad family that's been controlling Syria for about 55 years. Well, guess what? Well, you don't have to guess. He's gone. All right? He was pro-Soviet Union, pro his father. He's pro-Russia. Matter of fact, it's Russia that saved his can in 2015. He was being overrun by all these in this Arab Spring that began in 2011, which led to ISIS and a caliphate, and which brought in the U.S., Ephraim, in eastern Syria, and under Trump basically wiped out ISIS, but they're still there in remnants, and we went on a massive bombing campaign the other day. I think we did 75 missions. So he's what? Let me go back. Because I'm probably scatterbrained here. Anyways, it looked like Iran, Russia, and the United States, Iran. Okay, there's the Ayatollah Khamenei. There's Vlad here. All right. Now, what I was saying, and there were, especially with Russia, there were confrontations all the time. And I said, and I had to, I would do updates, and I said, if these powers go to war, I said the United States will win out, because in the latter days, Ephraim and Syria must somehow. Now listen, and I'm not toting myself here in the end, because if all this is true, you're going to find out it's the things that I teach, really. And there's one other thing I'm doing this for. I'm trying to get it out to exalt the Enoma name of God, the only God and His Son, and the restitution of all things. And there's one other thing, though. Can't get into it right now. Somehow, some way, I said, somehow, some way, the United States will win out in Syria. So in this war last year with Israel, Judah, if I might go slide down here. So here in the Middle East, here's Israel. Judah, the fourth son of Jacob. They get attacked by Hamas, kill like 1,300 of Judah's people. So they go in and wipe out. They're wiping out Hamas, and they wiped out Hezbollah. These proxies of Iran, which formed the axis of resistance against Israel. So when they wiped these, and then they went over and bombed Iran, took out all the air defenses. So this Hezbollah being wiped out and Hamas, it greatly weakened this resistance in Syria and allowed these rebels to march from the north all the way down to Damascus and take Damascus. Okay? Listen to what I said. I'm not toting myself. I said somehow, some way, the United States is going to win out in Syria. If they didn't go to war, Russia, Iran, and it still might happen, but they're, if I may go back, Russia is out. Well, they got a couple of bases, like Navy bases on the coast, which they've scaled that even down. A lot of their ships have taken off. Their troops are basically gone. They fled. And Bashar Assad fled out of the country, and he's in Moscow now. He's gone. These rebels overran. They hate the Iranians. They hate them. Because they backed up this Bashar Assad that was oppressive to their people, torturing them, not to stay in power. They overran the Iranian embassy. They evacuated their embassy in Damascus. If you've seen on TV the news, you could see they're going through their embassy. They're ripping down the flags of Iran. They don't like them. These rebels that were they have connections with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. I'll get into that in a minute. I'm not too much on political things, too big on these. What I'm trying to drive across is, all right, somehow, some way, the United States and Syria must form an alliance, become friendlier friends. And what they're going to do what they did before. They're going to try to come against Judah. Judah or Israel and the United States are going to become enemies. That's also must happen. Okay? So Iran is out. Let me go back to Syria here. So you have the big players now are really the United States, Israel, and you have Turkey to the north. Russia, greatly weakened. They're out. Iran, out. All right. And you have these rebels, they want friendlier relations with the United States and Israel. So what I'm telling you is, let me find the map, if I have it. Okay. The United States, Ephraim, the multitude of nations promised to Abraham in the last days, Genesis 48, especially verse 19. Manasseh, Britain, he too shall be a people, and he shall be great, Great Britain. But truly his younger brother will be greater than he, and he will become what? Excuse me. A multitude of nations, or a fullness of nations. All right? His younger brother, Manasseh's younger brother, who would be Great Britain, truly did become greater than he. Could have conquered the world after World War II. We're the only ones that had the atomic bomb. Okay? So what I'm trying to drive across here is that, okay, so that Russia, Iran are out, which I said somehow, some way, in the end, the United States would win out over those two if we didn't go to war, because there were clashes. We even killed 500 Russian mercenaries in Syria dusted them. Okay, but things could change. You got Ukraine. You got a whole nother. So I'm probably going to drift away now from everything that I originally, when I came on here in 2013, very shallow in my teachings. Okay, I have a lot of depth now. Okay, I got an arsenal on me, and I'm going to do something with it anyways, what's going on here? And nobody knows, right? Try to witness this to your friends, and all things must be tested. Chances are you're going to get a lot of hostility. Oh, we're not African, Isn't that a teaching of Herbert W. Armstrong? Isn't that a teaching of British Israelism? Isn't that identity movement, whatever that is? No, it's something from the Bible that people can take and twist and, turn it into what it's not supposed to be. It's the promise given to a man who was obedient, an unconditional promise. Abraham, I will make you a multitude of nations, your descendants, through Sarah. So what's going on here? The United States is being set up to be destroyed. It's only the beginning. Again, things can change. And if I may slide over here, I do believe this guy is going to have a lot to do with it. Some of you may remember me saying, if this guy is the last president, okay, and he's going to bring the same thing, okay, Germany, I don't want to get into too much, NATO, or EU and NATO. He said he'll pull out of NATO. He'll collapse the whole NATO alliance if they don't pay their fair share. The most flustered nation over in Europe, and concerning him coming in, Germany, because he hated them. He picked on them. Keep that in mind. I have his oracle given to me in a very special place. If indeed he's the last president, and we are Ephraim, because it's right out of the Word of God. Just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to, I don't want to drift too far off. Let's take him out. Let's go back. So this is going to be a set-up. This is a setup. Okay, these rebels. Okay, they're saying they want an all-inclusive government. There's a lot of ethnic groups in Syria. So they were supposedly radical jihadists tied with ISIS and Al Qaeda. Now they're coming out and they're saying we want all-inclusive. We want a like a democracy. They want free markets. Okay, they want to be all-inclusive. Christians, Muslims. Who else? Anyways, there's a lot of different ethnic, a lot of religions in Syria. They're saying supposedly the right things. Why, if they were radical jihadists, would they change their minds? Think about it. Who's got control of the East? And we have bases all over the Middle East. We've got warships and we've got aircraft carriers all over the Middle East. And you got Israel over here. You got Judah. You got Ephraim. We bomb them into the they came out and declared a caliphate, they wouldn't last more than a week, I would think. They would get bombed into the Stone Age. Okay. They wanted to get rid of the oppressive Assad government and the Russians and the Iranians. Okay. So who's left? Okay. All right. So this is a set up. Oop, I don't know where that came from. This is a set up for the destruction of a wicked Ephraim. Jacob's trouble. The Great Tribulation. Just a setup. Just the beginning. So I got a couple of articles. Let's get rid of Bashir here. Okay. Now notice what Biden said about this. These rebels come in. They say, we want friendlier relations with Israel. You can go research that yourself. With the West. Biden says fall of Assad regime in Syria is a historic opportunity. President Joe Biden addressed the nation Sunday after meeting with his national security team, calling the fall of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's abhorrent regime a historic opportunity for the long-suffering people of Syria. Okay. Let me get out of that because we'll go into this one. There's more content. U.S. officials in direct contact with victorious Syrian rebels. So now we're in direct contact with these rebels. We didn't have any diplomatic relations with Syria. They were pro-Russia, Soviet Union, pro-Iran. They attacked Israel, the 67 war, the 73 war, all the way back, 1948-49, extremely hostile to Israel, anti-USA. Now we're in direct contact with them. The U.S. has made direct contact with the HTS rebels who now control Syria. After toppling the Assad regime, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has said, it is the first acknowledgement of direct U.S. interaction with the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which the U.S., that's that rebel group, which the U.S. currently still designates as a terrorist organization, and they may lift that. Blinken told reporters the U.S. has been in contact in particular over the fate of the missing American journalist. Okay, well, let's go on. Blinken was speaking in Jordan. All right. Officials agreed to support a peaceful transition process in the country, with Jordan's foreign minister saying that regional powers did not want to see it descend into chaos. So this article goes on to, and I read it, that relations can be established if what they're saying is true. Okay. So anyways, I don't want to go too deep into this article. It's not very long. All right. So we are in direct contact with these rebels. We're talking to them. All right. So again, let's see where this goes. It could change next week. It could change in a couple of days. All right. But they're talking, they want relations with the West. They don't want to persecute minorities, all inclusive. They want a free market. So we'll see. So this is being like hailed a historic opportunity. We're in contact with them. The old regime is out. But what do I say? It's a setup. For the destruction. It's a setup for the Damascus Oracle, for the Great Tribulation. Isaiah 17, this happened, a small forerunner in 733 BC, when the Assyrians destroyed Damascus. The burden against Damascus. Behold, Damascus will cease from being a city, and it will be a ruinous heap. The cities of Aor are forsaken. They will be for flocks which lie down, and no one will make them afraid. The fortress also will cease, notice, from Ephraim. The kingdom from Damascus and the remnant of Syria, they will be as the glory of the children of Israel, says the Lord of hosts. In that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob will wane. Okay. Jacob, Israel. Who did he put his name on? Israel, Ephraim, and Manasseh. Let my name be named on the lads. And the fatness of his flesh will grow lean. Who inherited the dew of heaven and the fat of the earth? Who has the greatest economy in these last days? Who has the most fertile land in the world? Farmland. Vineyards, farmland, corn, wine, grain. Water. Above the earth and below the earth. That's our birthright blessing. All right? So it's a setup. We're in contact with this new rebel group, something we weren't with the Assad regime. We actually wanted him out. Okay? So this thing that's being hailed, so this thing that's being hailed as something good is a setup. Again, it could change for our destruction. If I might go back to Isaiah, notice, fulfilled in part, but this hasn't been fulfilled yet. In that day, a man will look to his Maker, and his eyes will have respect on the Holy One of Israel. He will not look to the altars, the work of his hands. He will not respect what his fingers have made, nor the wooden images, nor the incense altars. Okay, that was never fulfilled back when Assyria overthrew the northern 10 tribes and took them out. They never repented. I had here, we must break away from Judah, Israel. It goes by our name, Judah, the fourth son of Jacob. Then I cut into my other staff bonds that I might break the brotherhood between what? Judah and Israel. So in type, southern kingdom, Judah, northern kingdom, kingdom of Israel, kingdom of Judah, they are again in place in these latter days. That prophecy in Zechariah 11 was 200 years, probably over 200 years, after the 10 northern tribes were taken out. Break the brotherhood between Judah and Israel. Okay. Latter days. Break the brotherhood between Judah over here and Israel, right? There's a close bond, isn't there? Who's the guy, X amount, Donald Trump, he turns on a dime. That's another video, most likely coming down the road. Remember, the thing that has been is what will be. Let me get out of that. Isaiah 9:21. Manasseh shall devour Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh. All right. Together they shall be what? Against Judah. Remember, what happened before will happen again. All right. Number one, the two major things that have to happen somehow, some way, an alliance with Syria. Now we are one of the ones that have the upper hand. Iran and Russia gone. Number two, down the road, a departure from our brother Judah. Become enemies. Okay? Because this is just a setup. It could change. You could have these powers going at war again. And it could spill over into Syria. Again, I would say that the U.S. would win out. Okay? Just a setup right now. Thank you for your time and thank you for listening.